Hello.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome to Launch.
There you go.
Are we good? Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Launch with Kim.
And Dr. New. I gotta find a new one. It's getting kind of old, right?
No, it's
No.
what we do. It's what we do. I'm ready to share while New talks to you all. Let me turn
Well,
this sound down.
well, hello, everyone. We have been talking the last 6 weeks. I'm just going to kind of jump right in, if it's
Yeah.
okay. Go to 30 minutes because last week I wasted some time and had to go overtime. So thank you for sitting in on that. Listen, we always want to say that we truly appreciate you stopping what you're doing to hear anything that we have to say out of our lips at Clay. We know that your time is valuable. We believe and we teach that it's your greatest commodity, your most valuable commodity. So we
Appreciate
yeah,
it.
we just appreciate it. I don't
Yeah,
know how
we
to say
do.
it to you. Once you spend your time, you can't get it back. So thank you for stopping in. And hopefully you're grabbing some more so out of these broadcasts. We're going to kind of shift a little. As you know, we kind of work in series and things that we do are pretty progressive because we're both educators. So there's kind of like a theme that goes to our units and we try to connect the units together so that it helps us all to launch
Right.
new things in our life as circumstances, situations, and challenges come so that we can accomplish our purpose. So we're going to kind of move from the potential principle into what I'm calling the 5 P's of producing a harvest.
Yes.
That's what I'm calling it right now. I don't know if the title will change because it's not sitting kind of right with me, but that's what it is. We're going to talk about 5 P's of producing a harvest. And this kind of came from our garden.
Mm-hmm.
We did a garden over the summer. It's something I've always wanted to do. And we kind of went back and forth and never did one. And we came back to our house here in Pennsylvania and we just did a garden. And the processes and the steps that we went through in the garden, we learned so much.
Yeah,
not just about gardening and the food and the vegetables and everything was really good and great. Matter of fact, it was funny because I just bought some tomatoes. It's the first time I had to buy tomatoes, right?
Right. That's
a while,
true.
right?
And they weren't as pretty as ours. They were like a light colored orange.
They weren't even as good, right? Because our stuff is totally organic. But another story, there were 5 distinct steps that I saw in producing a harvest from our garden. So our garden, it produced a lot of harvest. We had to give stuff away.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was just, more than we expected.
Yeah.
So we want to teach you some lessons that we learned from that. And so I want to tell you the 5 steps now for those of us who are OCD, right? and want to hear the whole thing at first so you can map your notes and follow us throughout the weeks. But the 5 steps are planning, preparing, planting, protecting and providing. That's 4. And the 5th one, picking. Because you got to pick the fruit, right? So those are the 5 we're going to talk about. And of course, today we're going to start with planning.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be looking down at my notes a lot. I have a lot of notes, so hopefully we can get through it all today. So God bless the ears and the minds and the hearts and all the good stuff that's going on with individuals so that this word permeates all the cares in life, all the distractions, and goes straight to that spirit man and feeds that spirit man and connects with the soul so that it can bring forth fruit, bring forth harvest in individuals in Jesus' name. So you guys, listen, to introduce planning, first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna tell you about something called time and change, right? Miles Monroe talks about this a lot. It says, there's 2 things that we cannot avoid in life. It's time and change. Time's gonna keep on ticking.
Right.
The song, time keeps on ticking, ticking, right? Into the you, right? So you got time keeps ticking and change is going to happen. I don't care who you are, where you are, how much you make, how much you don't make, where you're from, change is happening.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, just look in the mirror
Yeah.
change is happening,
Mhm.
right? So in order to manage those two things, because we got to manage them, because
Right.
they're going to take place, we can't avoid them. So the only thing we can do is manage them.
Mhm.
The only way to manage them is to plan.
Right.
Is to plan.
Which is some of the things that we don't like to do.
Right.
Mhm.
So let me kind of tell you what planning is, how we're defining it today. So kind of define it in three parts, if you will. So planning is the thing that gives purpose to your time.
Mhm.
Planning is the thing that gives purpose to your time.
Right.
It documents how unused time will be used.
Mm.
It documents how unused time will be used. And most of all, planning is the management of the distance between conceiving a thing
Mhm.
and actually the destination of actually receiving that thing.
Mm.
So I'll say it again. Planning is the management of the destination between conception and destination, right?
Mhm.
When you first see a thing
Right.
and that thing is actually perceived or manifested.
Mhm.
Okay, so that's kind of how we're defining time for us today. So this is pretty cerebral, you guys. Just want to kind of let you know, not a lot of catchy phrases or anything like that. She's gonna leave me by myself. She know I have stage fright. Right. So just to give you a few scriptures, the Bible itself is full of scriptures and stories that kind of like state, if you will. And I forgot to turn the banner on. Let me turn this banner on so you can see us down the bottom here. So it kind of tells us all of these things, these scriptures tell us, stories about the importance of planning. There's familiar scriptures, Jeremiah 1 and 5, that he formed us
Mhm.
with a specific purpose and then ordained us. So that's
Mhm.
a plan. There's the Jeremiah 29:11. Everyone knows that.
Mhm.
The thoughts I have for you are good thoughts. The
Mhm.
plans I have for you,
For you to prosper.
right,
Mhm.
you to prosper towards the expected end, So there's Ephesians 1, that whole 5 through 9. It talks about how we were predestined before time according to his good will and his purpose, right? There's David. We talk about David. So I don't think people kind of realize this. David didn't just go out in front of Goliath without a plan.
His life was a plan.
Yeah, his whole life was a plan.
His whole life was a plan.
But the fight with Goliath, Goliath was like,
Mhm.
he was gigantic.
Right.
David was a boy. The
Right.
odds were against him. He didn't go out in front of him
Mhm.
without knowing that he could win.
Mhm.
He had a plan.
Right.
Remember, it talked about he went to the brook and he picked up 5 stones, right?
Smooth ones.
Smooth stones, right? So he knew his skill, he knew his craft.
Mhm.
And we could talk about those 5 stones because Goliath had some brothers,
Mhm.
right? But that's a whole nother story.
Mhm.
But the deal was this: he understood something.
Mhm.
He knew that a man with a sword could not stop a projectile.
Mm.
So he already had a plan.
Something in motion. Come on.
I'm not going to get close to him.
Mhm.
Because if he grabs me,
Right.
he could take me down, he could take me out. So anyway,
That's
just
good.
so he had a plan.
That'll preach.
Right. Right. He wouldn't take the armor. So he knew his thing, when kings went to war.
Yeah.
There's examples in Kings and in Chronicles, how they would put half of the troops behind the city and only half out in front, and they would draw the enemy out, and then they would blow the trumpet, and the people would come from behind them, and now the enemy was surrounded, and they can overtake them easily. It was a plan. They had a plan. Joash. We talked about Joash when we talked about your why, right? So Joash's grandma was killing all his brothers. His aunt saved him. Right, other side. She had a plan. She saved him, and the priest knew that at some point he could then put Joash, the rightful king, back in. So it was a plan. It was a plan, right? Jacob and his mother, they had a plan to steal the older brother's birthright, right? So plans can be positive and plans can be negative, right?
It's a plan,
right? But there must be a plan. In Malachi, it tells us to write the plan. Is that Malachi or is that Habakkuk?
Make it plain.
Is that Habakkuk?
Habakkuk.
It might be Habakkuk, right? Am I saying it right?
Some people say Habakkuk. It's Habakkuk the way we say it.
You know what I'm talking about. It says, write the plan
Make it plain.
Make it plain,
Mhm.
right?
Write the vision.
Write
Yep,
the vision.
plan,
And then it
the
says,
vision.
put it in a place
Yeah.
where it can be seen
Mhm.
and visit it frequently, right?
Mhm.
The plan for your life is something that gives you something to compare
Mhm.
what you're doing
Where-
to and where you're going
Mhm.
with your daily choices to where you want to go.
Right.
So that's what the plan does.
Mhm.
It's your assessment system. It's what you measure things by. So let's go a little further, right? So a plan doesn't just tell you what to do. It does tell you what to do. It's a plan,
Mhm.
step 1, step 2, step. But that's not all it does,
Mhm.
right? Right? It protects you
Mhm.
because it protects you and it protects your purpose. Most importantly,
Mhm.
because not only does it tell you what to do, it tells you what not to do.
Mhm. Mhm.
If things, circumstances, situations come up in life, as they will,
Right.
which draw you away from that
Mhm.
plan, then you have to reconsider or
Mhm.
strongly consider whether that is something that is you're supposed to do.
It's
Whether
always
it's
going
just-
back to your why.
Right,
It's just like going
right.
back to your
Going
why.
back to your why.
and
They're
what-
all connected.
They're
Why,
all connected.
a potential,
Mhm.
and the plan, right? So the key to success, I'm just going to read this. The key to success, to successfully being productive as you produced your harvest. I'm talking about your purpose-aligned harvest,
Mhm.
right? Because you can produce a harvest. Listen,
Right.
whether you plan or not, you're going to produce a harvest.
Some kind of harvest is
Right.
coming up.
So your purpose-aligned harvest, the key to making sure that that thing is produced successfully is a plan.
Yeah.
You got to have a plan.
Got to have a
You
plan.
got a plan, right? Right. So listen, it's not enough to just know your potential. We just stopped talking about potential,
Mhm.
right? So it's not enough to just know your potential,
Mhm.
and you know that it exists
Mhm.
and that you can invoke upon it, right?
Mhm.
But you have to create and execute a plan
Mhm.
so you can make sure that that potential is released,
Right. To make sure it's carried out.
right? And see, God made us like Him, right? So that means we can do what He did
Mhm.
in His likeness. We can do things like Him,
Like him.
right? So the deal is this: God created everything off of a plan,
Mhm.
right? So we can see a thing and we can accomplish that thing, derive that thing, just like God did. You know, He
Right.
stepped out on the platform of nothing and He said, "Let there be light." And there was light. You know, then He split the firmaments. And then He made the earth and He made all the things on the earth, right? We have that same ability to see a thing
Mhm.
from within us and then create the plan
Mhm.
to establish and manifest that thing. So in essence, we
Mhm.
already have seen the end before we
Mhm.
started from the beginning. And the way that we make sure that we're starting from the end at the beginning is creating a plan.
And just to share, when you talked about God stepped out on the platform or nothing, I like to call that chaos. And what I mean by chaos is there was so much there that it needed separated, and it needed to have a place and a time and a operation. And even in our lives, with all the potential that we have, if there's no plan, then we're just doing a whole bunch
Yes.
of everything.
Yes.
It's just a bunch of confusion happening.
Yes.
You got to have a plan.
Yes. So here's the deal. One of the things I think that's my stalling thing. Here's the deal. I say that all the time, right?
That's okay.
Right. So I got to work on that. If you look at every creature on the face of the planet, right? Every creature that exists, right? We are the only creation that God made that has the ability to plan.
Mm.
And, and I know you might not like this. So animals, your dogs, your cats, all them, they all work off an instinct.
Mm.
It's either something that nature has put in place and set in place, natural selection, or it's instinct that has to do with survival.
Mm-hmm.
They don't create a plan. They work off of circumstances.
Wow.
Whatever circumstance happens or occurs, they adjust to survive.
Wow.
We are the only creation that can create the plan.
Mm.
So we can create the circumstances via our plan to establish a certain outcome. that makes us like God.
That's that image and that
That's
likeness.
that image, like, yes.
Mhm.
So it's important for you to understand that. Why I'm saying that is because I believe that planning is the highest expression that we have of godness or of godlikeness.
Wow.
I believe that's as close as we can get to God. Being like God here on this planet is when we plan a thing.
So you mean like operating like him?
Operating like God, yes.
Where
Yes.
we plan it,
Yes.
lay it out,
Yes.
make it plain upon
Yes.
the tables.
Right.
I get it.
Even before we speak it,
Mhm.
and even before we call it and give it
Mhm.
identity, we plan it.
It has to be, because if you call it first, then you don't know what you're
You don't
calling.
know what you call it.
Yeah.
Right. I believe planning is our highest expression
Mhm.
of God-likeness
I like that.
here on this planet, on this planet, right?
Mhm.
It's you know, his divine nature, if you
Mhm.
want to say it, lies in that whole piece of planning, which is a whole sidetrack, which is why I believe one of the offices of the Holy Spirit is the spirit of education,
Mhm.
right? But that's a whole nother,
Mhm.
we kind of veering off, right? But so when we plan a thing, we already know that the end is at the beginning,
Mhm.
right? And it doesn't just show us where we want to go, it shows us how to get there.
Mhm. Mhm.
So the plan is our destination. You know, it's directions on how we get there. And it's usually the best route if we took some time to sit down and consider all the factors, right? Which means you have to have some intelligence.
Mhm.
You have to have some awareness. You have to get some counsel. It's not done in singularity. It's not done haphazardly and, off the cuff and off the hook.
And under the operation of the Holy Spirit, which
Yes.
brings things to your remembrance, whatsoever I either commanded you
Right.
or taught you, those things that are in you, I will bring to your remembrance. This is what you need to do and how you need to
Exactly.
use it.
Exactly.
So you definitely have to have counsel, whether it is a person, and not whether, but you need them all.
Right. And we could sidetrack a little bit right here talking about counsel, because you got to have wise counsel. And sometimes we get caught in loops of traditions that other folks have.
Mhm.
And one of the things that we do in the church, especially, is a horse will be dead, and we're gonna try to resurrect that horse. It's dead. Sometimes you got to just get on another horse, but that's another story for another time. So one of the things that I want to point out right here about the route, why I said that your plan is your route to your destination, is how we get to that destination, is because oftentimes that route could be blocked.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to be okay with changing your plan. You see, your plan is what helps you to accomplish your purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Your purpose doesn't change. Your plan it's the steps so you can accomplish the purpose.
Right.
It's what kind of dictates the circumstances along the way as your purpose is accomplished. But there are various circumstances that we're not in control of.
Right.
There's tons of things happening around us. I'll talk about in a minute if I have time, that are happening around us. But if you think about a destination, one time Kim and I, we were leaving here. It was a Sunday morning. We had to go speak in another city,
Mm-hmm.
right? And we took the main highway,
Mm-hmm.
right, to get there, as we
That's
would
right.
always go, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the main highway was blocked.
Yeah, shut down
Now,
for miles.
Who shuts a highway down,
Mm-hmm.
right? Something we could not have ever even thought was
Right.
going to happen, right?
Right.
At least one lane would be open, but no,
Mhm.
the whole thing was shut.
Yeah.
And there were detour signs.
Mm-hmm.
Detour here, and they're flagging you off, detour here. So we didn't know kind of where we were going. So we followed the detour and the GPS and all that kind of stuff, right? So it was inconvenient.
Mm-hmm.
It took us on back roads.
Yeah.
We had more stops and goes with stop signs and
Mhm.
stoplights.
Lots
It was
of turns,
little
country
traffic
roads.
and turn. Yes, stuff that we just weren't expecting
Right.
that morning, that day, because there was usually a straight route. But after a while, that detour, it added time
Mm-hmm.
to our trip. After a while, and that's important, it added time.
Yes, that's so
It
important.
added time. After a while, we got back on that route
Mm.
and we made it to our destination.
Right.
Right. What I'm pointing out to you is we had to change our plan.
Yeah.
Our plan was to keep straight on the thing. We had to change our plan and follow that detour. So when circumstances come up and a detour happens in life, because life does that.
Yeah. it
Life does that.
Mhm.
We can't see them all
does.
coming.
Right.
Right. We're not God. We're not omniscient.
Mhm.
We're like God. Right. Right.
Mhm.
We have to be okay to change our plan,
Yeah.
not our purpose.
Right.
We didn't stop going to our destination
Mhm.
to get there,
Right.
to speak. It was a Sunday
Right.
morning, right? And we made it there on
Mhm.
time,
On time.
right? But the deal was this. I just said it again. We had to change our route to
Yeah.
get there. And that's okay.
Mhm.
Sometimes you have to change your
You
plan,
do.
change your route, right? But don't change the purpose,
Right.
right? So planning. Be okay with that plan. Let me see, what do I have left? I got just a couple minutes left. So I'm not going to finish this today.
That's okay.
So I do want, let me finish off with this. Don't make the mistake to focus so much on your plan
Mm.
that you think that that is your purpose.
Oh, wow.
So often that's what we'll do. We'll create a plan and we're focusing on step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, as we should, right? Not realizing that that plan may change, but that plan is just a means for me to get to my purpose,
Yes, it's
to
a
accomplish the thing.
roadmap. It's just the
Right.
map.
Right. Your plan doesn't measure your success.
Mm-mm.
Your plan measures your progress
Mhm.
along the way as you're moving toward that destination.
Right.
So if that plan changes, that's okay.
And it shouldn't jolt us too much.
No.
It shouldn't.
Right. So your plan's not the destination, it's how you arrive there.
Mhm.
So expect circumstances, expect situations to cause you to have to adjust the actions that you've planned
Mhm.
to create the circumstances that you wanted to happen with your original plan.
Mhm.
So let me say that again.
Yeah.
When you create a plan, what you're doing is you're controlling the circumstances.
Mhm.
You're saying, if I do this, then this will happen.
Mhm.
When that happens, then I can do this. And after that, then I'll do this. So it's you're creating the circumstances as you see them for a destination or something you want to accomplish. It's called backwards design.
Right.
So oftentimes, because we're not omniscient,
Right.
the winds will come.
That's right.
Something will knock us off course. A roadblock will show up. A landmine that we didn't know was there. Something will throw us off.
Mhm. Every
And
time.
Yes.
Every time.
That's what's going to happen, right? So when those circumstances come to take you off track from the circumstances that you've created
Mhm.
with your plan, it's okay.
Mhm.
Expect that.
Expect it.
Be ready for it,
Mhm.
right? See, there's variables. There's 2 types of variables. There's independent variables and there's dependent variables. I'm gonna give you a science class right now, right? So independent variables are variables that happen in an experiment and they do not affect the outcome,
Right.
right? Dependent variables are variables that happen in an experiment and the outcome is dependent on those variables. Right. So you have to be able in life to identify the independent and the dependent variables based on your purpose and the destination where you're traveling.
Right.
Not someone else's. Because society says, I'm just gonna use death. Society says death is a large circumstance and we're supposed to react a certain way. Well, if that reaction is taking you off track from your purpose and what you need to accomplish, then it's the wrong reaction for you. So you have to decide, even though it's a tremendous and traumatic situation and it's going to bring some feelings and some emotions, is it independent or is it dependent?
Right.
Do I need to change my plan? Is it dependent? Do I need to change my plan to deal with this circumstance and still keep my purpose? Or is it independent? Do I just feel it? Do I just acknowledge it, but keep my plan and keep moving forward? So I'm going to stop right there. I'm going to leave that.
Okay.
Drop that right there. So planning is about your purpose.
Right.
Planning is about your purpose. It's Proverbs 20:18 says, make the plans by seeking advice, right? If you wage war, says, if you wage war, seek guidance first. Because your planning protects you. It protects you.
Yes, it does.
You should not get in a fight
Right.
that you know you cannot win. Right? Planning is what allows you to do that. So planning's connected to your purpose. That goes back to that whole David
I was
piece.
getting ready to say that
Yeah.
takes us right back to
Right,
David,
right,
because I mean they tried to dress him up like the king,
Right,
and that was the wrong material, the wrong
Right.
weaponry, the wrong stuff for him.
right.
He had to use what it was that he needed to use,
Exactly.
so that he could fulfill the purpose.
You fulfill your purpose.
Yes.
So your plan helps keep you moving forward in that direction.
Yeah.
So that you can accomplish those things. So as you're creating that plan, as things are happening to you, circumstances are happening in your life, ask yourself these 3 questions. You know, am I getting too close to my enemy?
Mm.
You know, because we're waging war all the time,
Mm-hmm.
right? Am I getting too close to my enemy? You know, is there something that I could have just projected at them from where I am?
Mm-hmm.
You
As
know,
David did. Mm-hmm.
yes, to defeat this thing so I can continue about my plan and move on with my purpose.
Wow.
You know, am I giving this enemy more of a chance to stop me, to distract me, to hinder me than I have to?
Right. Wow. Wow.
Is it taking me off my plan?
Mm.
Right. And I already said it to you. What can I launch?
Mm-hmm.
What can I launch from where I am
Right.
to secure this victory? Because I need my plan to continue so I can reach my purpose, my destination. So we're going to stop right there, and we'll come back
Yes.
next week. We'll tell you a little bit more about planning next week, but we're talking about the 5 keys,
Mm-hmm.
the 5 keys to producing your God-aligned harvest.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully you grab some more so you can take out of this one to
you did.
educate yourself, motivate yourself, and help yourself grow. And as usual, my friends, make it a great day.
We about to tell. Listen, you're gonna make it a great day. It is a great day. The day was great when he created it.
Make it a great day. So you guys, you are good ground.
Let's say
You're
it.
good ground. So you know what we say. We say it every time. Go ahead and say it.
I am good ground.
I am good ground.
And
right?
everything
grows
here. Everything.
So choose to plan.
Yes.
Choose to stop what you're doing. Choose to plan wisely in your finances. I'm getting into next week, so I'm gonna stop right there. Choose to plan wisely, because your plan will determine whether you're going to accomplish your mission, whether you're going to meet your destination.
Right.
The first step to producing a harvest
is
is planning.
Okay, guys, and you know what we say every week. We are not launching at you, but we are launching with you. And we'll see you back here next week. And remember, we're going to be talking about the plan. All right, God bless. Oh, and don't forget to set your kids up to watch today around 12 o'clock. We're going to have another potential lesson for your kids talking about potential and Jonah. So stay with us. God bless. Frozen. Yeah.